Times were desperate. Food was scarce. Today on the Manspace. Welcome to the Manspace podcast. We're your hosts, Doctors Matt Brown and Rob Porter, and clinical therapist Mike Porter. Welcome, Spacemen, to Scarce Times. That quote is actually from my son when he was like, I don't know, second
grade.
grade.
A home video.
They were playing. He was telling Becky this story about why. Sorry, I just got a text from my daughter that says, "Would you still love me if I got really into Limp Bizkit?"
You tell her the answer is
I
no.
I feel like, well, we had a good run. Anyway, he came home telling her some story about playing this like tribal cats game or something on the playground, and she's like, well, why'd you have to do this? Like, why'd you vote this person off or whatever it was? He's like, Mom, times were desperate, food was scarce. He was like totally serious.
It had to be Spencer, right?
No, Stuart.
Shut up, really?
Yeah, totally. When it was funny. It was intense. Becky's like, oh yes, of course. I'm sorry. I don't know.
Clearly. How could I have missed that, son?
Times were desperate. Food was scarce. Here's an update on my soda drinking, which, by the way,
My pen's real huge, dude. Looks like you're holding a bat, a torpedo bat.
Saber. This is not actually related to soda drinking. I am posting, or I think I'll post tonight on TikTok. We got to encourage people to. I don't remember what our username is on TikTok. People should go follow our social media. I wish I could remember what our name was on profile. Can I find out?
Just in case you're wondering, cool. I like social media even less now after reading Scarcity Brain.
Mm-hmm. I know. I didn't like it before. I get on here.
I've never liked it, but after reading this, I was like, yep, this is why I'm not on it.
Our TikTok is called Manspace Mental Health.
I think that's the Instagram too.
Oh yeah, Manspace Mental Health.
Yeah,
check us out. Anyway, I posted on there that I was kind of inviting them to give us feedback so that they can give us critiques and techniques of what we need to change. I just need to now make like a sheet for them to have so they can see it, and then we'll post it on the-manspace.com and other places.
The feedback for episode 200.
Yeah, that we're only. Yeah. This is 196. Mike, it's going to be all about me. In terms of Rob's an idiot, shut that guy up. I think you guys they'd be like, Matt and Mike have so much good stuff to say. I wish Rob would shut himself up.
I don't want to discount our Spacemen's initiative, but shock us and actually respond.
Well, I will say the patron saint, when he listened to the episode where you made the invitation,
yeah,
he was like, "Oh, here we go,
fight!"
I know. Yeah. It's gonna be. Hey, did he listen to today's episode?
If he did, he hasn't commented on it yet. Why?
Do you remember the sign off?
No.
Oh, I said it's not always about sex, Evan. We just have to find a place where we can actually post it. Like, maybe I'll try to make a link to it in like the show notes.
I was going to say, I think when we, like, what was that game we did with Mike Straub?
We did that on Facebook. That was the Manly Feud episode.
Yeah, I think we all posted that to our individual social media accounts.
Yeah, I'll do that again.
Got some responses there too. So yeah,
I'll do it again. But I think it'll be good to post it on the. It's funny. I think of people listening to this, and I wonder if they're like, if they're sitting listening to us plan this out, if they're like, just post in the show notes, idiots. You know.
I don't know about you though. Back. I rarely look at the show notes.
I never look at show notes.
I don't. So but most people I talk to are still like, they're like, "Wow, you have a podcast?"
I know, it's so funny.
And so I think most of them probably don't wouldn't logically think, well, I could probably just respond in the show notes or whatever, right? They wouldn't.
Yeah.
Or you can text right from there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can text from there, and I'll
That's
put
the
a link
easiest
in
way,
there
guys.
in the
Yeah.
next few episodes. Okay. The only update on my soda drinking that no one cares about is I can see now, Mike, how you're like, I need to make sure I get my water in, because I'm like, do I need water?
Don't worry, the first
I
kidney stone cures you of that in a hurry.
No, I still drink probably close to a gallon in a day of water, so it's not like
How many
I'm not
ounces is
drinking
that?
it.
It's about
128.
Yeah, it's about 128. Yeah, I think most days I drink between 3/4 and a gallon.
Although wasn't it in this one? I swear in this book, Scarcity Brain, that there was something I was like, that's what Mike's doing. He's trying to shovel his water in the beginning. I can't remember.
No, although I'll have to look for it and go find it. There was a study that said it was actually better to drink a significant amount of water prior to exercise and exertion than during or after. And so I was like, see?
But are you doing the exercise and exertion part?
Yes, I am. Thanks
a
lot.
Good job. I know what it. See, that's one of those things that's going to go in the comments. They'll be like, Rob, stop being mean to Mike.
Dude, check this out. In the interest of text from daughters today. I can't tell if this is just my daughter being picky or if I've actually let her down. So Lisa's out of town with Nicole right now. So Natalie's at home. We did like a bunch of shopping for food and stuff over the weekend, and like she told me what she needed and we got everything she needed. She just texts, I've kind of run out of food, so could I DoorDash something? She's sitting there. Scarcity at home.
DoorDash.
Kind of run out of food,
man.
If she's never done it, she can usually get it for cheap.
Even when you can get it for cheap,
I know.
It's still not, you got a tip or it's not getting picked up. Like,
yeah.
What kind of system is run on the idea that I'll tip you before you even get there?
Well, and I've heard
before
enough,
you do any of the work that I would evaluate for the tip.
I've heard enough stories of like. I muted myself. Sorry.
Oh, there you go.
I did it twice.
You did it.
It was the cord. My cord, like,
I'll put
rested
that on my
on
list
it and
of
muted it.
things
It's
to bring
super
up
sensitive.
during our episode.
Anyway, like some guy had posted pictures of his order like strewn across the street because the DoorDash driver just threw it out the window as he drove by. And he was on the phone with DoorDash and they're like, hey, sorry, we're like, we can't help you with this. And he's like, what do you mean you like? They're like, well, you got the food. And he's like, I didn't get the food. It's in the street. And I was just like,
but you have to tip in advance.
Yeah, they still charged him. He still tipped the guy. I was like, yeah, it's brutal.
I like the guy who, I read about an article about a guy who signed up to be a DoorDasher to get DoorDash to pay him to go get his own food. He's like, he'd make orders and he'd just pick it up. He'd put in for the DoorDash to go pick his food up. I don't know how that worked, but I was like, are you just paying yourself? I don't get how the system works. Whatever it is, I don't use DoorDash.
Yeah.
Remember that video that trash guy? And he like couldn't get it out of the can.
Eventually starts
slamming it, and then he just like tears the mailbox out and throws it.
I do love a point where it's like, oh, rough day. Finally reached your breaking point, did you?
I was going to say, at that point, you're beyond a rough day. It's like a rough.
What happens like when that happens to me in therapy? What's my version of chucking a trash can and ripping out a mailbox in therapy?
Well, I know what mine is.
Mike's already had it.
No, I mean, mine's never that bad, but I have had moments where I'll just kind of hit a point where I'm like, screw it, I don't care. And I get really blunt and really like smart mouthy and like I'm almost kind of making fun of. Like I'm not, but I'm like kind of pushing that line a little bit. And I'm just like, yeah, I don't care, I'm out.
It is It is funny the way everyone thinks that therapy is like all empathy and listening. And I had someone this morning that was like that they were like kind of like, well, why don't you have any empathy for this? And it's like, because it doesn't need empathy right now. You're asking me to have empathy for like an overactive thought process. And then we kind of got into you want me to do this as a way of like rescuing you, and I'm not going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Like the therapy is designed to make you become something better rather than like make you feel good in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
I wish more people could remember that, myself included.
Well, and I do every once in a while, like have to remind clients, like my goal is for you to not come to therapy anymore.
Yeah.
Like it's not to have you as a lifelong client.
Did I tell you about the teenager who's like, that's a terrible business model? I was like, it is, but it's the one I have. He's like, shouldn't you want repeat customers? It's like, no. But
Is that like maybe if there was a shortage,
yeah,
no shortage of people who need therapy.
Yeah. All right. Oh, I just heard an echo on somebody's thing. Here we are.
Echo cancellation on. It's not me.
By the way, before we get into this, whose book turn is it? Is it me?
No, I think it's.
so.
Oh, is it? I don't know.
Because
What did
Matt,
we do last?
I just know I'm always last.
did we do Iron John before this?
Yeah.
No, we didn't.
Wasn't that? I think we did.
No,
and that
we
was
did
Matt's
whatever
pick.
came after Iron John.
The most unhelpful sentence I've ever heard.
No, it's been a while since we've done one. I think the last one
We did,
was
'cause
Iron John, and before that it was the Eden Project. So,
Oh yeah, because Iron.
Wait, the Eden
guess
Project
it
was
is
Matt.
me.
That was
Yeah, which means Iron John was yours, which means it's Matt's turn.
yeah.
no.
Right.
Yeah, we have Iron John, but I swear Iron John.
No, because Matt presented 2 books,
And you were going to do Iron John anyway.
and you were like,
Oh, it was Lessons for Living, which was Matt.
That was me.
Presented 2 books. That was Mike.
and then Matt presented 2 books,
Uh-huh.
Eden
How'd we get-
Project and Iron John.
And you said you were going to do
And
Iron
you
John
said,
for
I
your
want to do
choice.
Iron John, so Matt,
So
let's
I
do
said-
Eden Project.
Yeah.
Which means it's Matt's turn to pick a book.
Oh, okay. I was going to say I have 3 locked and loaded, but let's get into our book today. The Scarcity Brain, written by Michael Easter,
Correct.
Yeah.
the guy who wrote
Comfort Crisis.
Comfort Crisis. This was his next book after Comfort Crisis. And that's all we have to say about it today.
On the
on
Manspace. Join us next time.
I'm going to start doing that just periodically throughout the day at my house, I think. Or maybe in session. Kind of like, there's a groundbreaking new book out. I'll be like, today on the Manspace. Like, what is this Manspace thing you keep talking about? Well, there's a groundbreaking new podcast.
Since
just
you
out
brought
4
it
years
up.
ago. Where do we begin? Mike, this was your pick, so the weight is on your shoulders.
Doesn't feel like the weight is on my shoulders. Plus, I know if I sit here long enough, it'll make you uncomfortable and you'll start talking.
Oh, yeah?
Uh-huh. I love that now you're going to be like, I'll show you.
Yeah. Remember, this is just like in our bedroom growing up where you're like, who's turning the lights off? I'm like, I can sleep with the lights on, sucker. Guess who always turned the lights off? Not Rob.
It's true.
So let's. I was
You
going to
just
say,
turned the lights off, dude.
I was going to say, let's pull my finger. You didn't hear. You didn't let me finish. That's it. Let's pull my finger. Watch this. Okay.
No, I will say, I wanted to read this book, one, because the Comfort Crisis was very impactful for me.
Yeah, I like that one.
I like this guy's writing style, and his approach to, like, these are self-help books that don't feel very self-helpy.
Mm-hmm.
They feel more like he's just kind of, here's this thing that was curious to me, and so I spent a bunch of time learning about it, and now I'm telling you the process I went through to do it. And And so I like that. And I also like, without ever, I mean, like Jenner and I have talked in the past about kind of a scarcity mindset without ever realizing, I think, I mean, I don't know, maybe Jenner saw it somewhere, but just the idea of, when, and anyway, it was my old understanding of it, right, was this idea of when you don't have a lot and then you're given a lot, you don't do smart things with, for example, money, you just go blow it. Or like if you've had no food and somebody gives you a bunch of food, you're not going to like be wise and say, well, I'm going to put some of this over here so that I've got food tomorrow. You're like, well, let's have a feast. And you go big. So it was just kind of like, it was an interesting mindset to me. And so that's part of what kind of led me to this. I don't know. I really had no expectations going into it. Other than I liked the way the guy wrote. Yeah, I don't know.
Cool. So catch us next time on the Manspace.
See, like I said, I don't feel
well. I'll
pressure.
tell you some thoughts I had. Also, at the same time, I will say, in our order of things, Matt, you can still pick a book, but actually, I think it is my turn. The one before, Lessons for Living was The Coddling of the American Mind. That one was mine. So I think you were actually Iron John, Matt. But
so you were the Eden Project, Rob?
Okay,
we did
not to waste more time on
this. We
this.
did the Eden Project.
Yeah, we did.
We did
do
the
Celestine Prophecy.
No,
that was
we also
before.
did the Eden Project.
We never talked about it. It's not in our things.
No, it's not in. You named it something else, I think, but it's in there. It was something about insecurities.
Confronting
we
our
did
insecurities.
The Eden Project.
Okay,
but
okay, you're right. All right, so we don't need to spend time on it. Here's why this kind of book, and what I like about it. I think about this kind of mindset in various areas of my life where, like Mike, that feasting thing where it's like, just having this kind of thinking in my head that says like, I have to get all of it now. I can't, like, I'm going to be in real trouble. I'll never get this opportunity again. And so it's kind of fascinating though. Like that part stands out to me because, like I said, there's parts of my life where I can feel like I do that. But then there's this element of, I think what it made me think most about is I feel like, we've become kind of gross as a society. Like to think about how much I don't know that this is just where my brain went. Like we've become massive passive consumers. Like it's like we just need stuff coming at us to entertain us and like fill our needs and fill our voids and like I said, I don't know if he specifically said anything like that directly, but it made me think of that at multiple points about kind of the same idea with social media, and thinking about the way that even thinking about the way that I kind of have approached the business side of my job. Like I was telling somebody recently that I actually have realized that what I get burnt out on is less clients and doing therapy and more actually the business side of doing therapy. I get really burned out. That's where I spend all my time thinking. And I think it comes from this place where it's like, I'm worried that I'm always worried it will dry up. And I'm not, I guess I haven't trained my brain into this more kind of abundant mindset kind of thing. That's like, it's all right. I'll figure it out. I know how to do this or this, and so I'm back like being an old hunter gatherer where it's like, kill as much as we can because we don't know when we're going to see another herd again. So I'm killing everything I can. So I think it discourages me first, but then makes me want to live some kind of like better, like how do I reprioritize so that I'm not actually just becoming a passive consumer, which, spoiler alert, since finishing the book 2 weeks ago, I have not done. Still a passive consumer.
Did finishing this book have anything to do with you removing the phones or the games from your phone?
No.
Oh, okay.
Wait, maybe.
You just told us about it, I think, last week.
Maybe it did. At the time when I removed the games from my phone, it was actually more about, and maybe this came from the book and I'm forgetting, but it was like, what small changes can I make?
Yeah.
Like sometimes we were trying to be too big and like just thinking, I got to make some small changes. This eats up tons of my time.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, actually it might be connected to that. The idea of like, how much time am I spending passively consuming stuff and not really being present, which is depressing.
Yeah, it is.
There's Matt's 2 cents.
Yeah. We're just talking about what stood out to us.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think you'll have to tell me if it was this one or the comfort crisis on a couple of these, because I think it was this one.
There's a lot of overlap.
There's a lot of overlap.
Yeah, the food stuff expanded more in this one, which I liked, but like I really liked the history of the slot machine stuff.
I love that
scarcity loop, like the opportunity, unpredictable rewards, and
quick repeatability.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I think that that really speaks to like social media and so many different things. I think sometimes we don't even think about, especially how social media has evolved to be primarily like Reels and TikToks, right? Where it's like, that is literally like a slot machine, right? Every time I like take that opportunity to scroll up, it's unpredictable if I'm going to like the next thing or not. And then I can repeat it quickly. And it's like hours upon hours of just sitting there. But I with the food stuff, I was talking to some clients about how like it's weird to think that our brains have evolved over thousands of years to view fat and sugar as scarce. And so like you're saying, like eat as much of it as you can.
Yeah.
And how now like the scarce thing is actually like vegetables. Right? But it's like we keep treating the fat and sugar like crap. There's not enough of this, pack it in, but it's like it's literally everywhere, right? So like retraining our brains to think about what is actually scarce and necessary, and capitalizing on that, not gorging ourselves on it. But and I like that they didn't, maybe he said this, but I think oftentimes, like you're saying, Rob, the like the opposite of scarcity mindset is abundance. But it seemed like he was saying like maybe not that either, maybe just enough and gratitude. I think we've kind of like abundance almost like throws you back into scarcity, right? Where it's like I should have a truckload of this stuff. So I have to like constantly be seeking abundance by looking at everything as though it's scarce. But there was one point, I think he was talking about the Bhutanese people. It was this book, right?
Yeah,
how they like think about death every day.
No, that was
that's
Comfort Crisis.
Yeah,
was that Comfort Crisis where he talked about Abraham Lincoln?
Sure.
he was talking about
it was the Comfort Crisis where he has an entire
a thing about the Bhutanese people.
That you should think about your own death at least like 3 times a day.
He was saying, I guess as I'm thinking about like enough and gratitude, I think like being able to actively pursue pain in a way, right? Like I think that's or pain or fear, right? Like thinking about your death every day is kind of like, it could produce some gratitude, but it also exposes you to something that's just very real and inevitable. But I think he was talking about Abraham Lincoln as like that was the first public viewing on a mass scale, maybe. And so it kind of like served the purpose of like, look, he's still with us. And then like from that time, we've evolved to kind of send people into hospitals and care facilities to kind of like be distant, more and more distant from death, and how we kind of like live in this illusion, like, oh, it's far from me, it's not going to happen, right? And I think like facing scarcity with like maybe a mindset of like what's necessary, right? What's needed, what's sufficient, instead of like, you know, if I don't have 10 of these, then I'm going to suffer. I think anything that moves us in the direction of just embracing necessary, simple, and meaningful things really helps us get out of like everything that this scarcity loop pulls us back into, right? Which is the illusion of abundance and the illusion of like needing to secure something that really doesn't satisfy you at all.
I think that's this is, because when you mentioned the slot machine thing, I think I got mad early on because of the not at him, at the idea of the slot machine thinking and how pervasive it's become. Because he mentions that some of the developments they've made in slot machine technology is like rampant all over the place. These people have gone on to develop stuff everywhere. Yeah, everywhere. And thinking about the way that it is, like when you talk about Instagram Reels, which or TikTok or whatever, it's like, hey, most people, this probably isn't fair. Maybe somebody would take issue with this. I don't know. But it feels like, yeah, everyone wants their stuff to go viral because then they can start getting paid to just do stuff on here, which means they're going to be just a marketer.
Yeah.
It's all just a way of, how do we keep your eyes glued to this so we can put more marketing in front of you, more ads in front of you in one way or another. Like, because I don't get on TikTok because I got on there yesterday looking at our stuff we posted, and I was just flipping through. I was like, I felt like 75% of what I was flicking through was ads. It's like, what is that all this is anymore? It's just ads? Like, am I just getting on to watch homemade commercials? But I think what's fascinating about it, and this is also where my brain went with it, that is hard for me, and I'm trying to undo consistently, thinking, well, wait a second, what do I actually want for me and the life I'm living? Because I think there is so much in this comparison idea too, of like when you see somebody else's stuff and the abundance they have, and then we tend to reward that abundance. Like it's not like we hear, like I think I mentioned this maybe last week or something, but when I heard about Jeff Bezos, how much he paid for his wedding, it infuriated me.
How much did he pay?
Spent $76 million.
Jeez.
Which is like, dude,
and how much did he spend on his divorce?
I don't know. But I feel like, dude, spend $1 million. That's already bougie. Yeah. And then give away $75 million. What the? Like, it infuriates me, but I also feel like, well, maybe I should be doing better so I could have my own $75 million wedding. Like, it feels like we measure success this way. I also read an interesting thing about tech giants and how it was the whole thing about fascism and tech giants and techno-fascism and the whole thing. But it was just interesting the way we've kind of started to idolize these men, even while saying they're terrible. It's like, well, we all want to be them. We want to have this much money. And that's the abundance mind says, I need to have so much, then I can be like, there, I'm satisfied. Instead of just being satisfied when he talks about the monks, which that story, by the way, that I guess, am I calling it right, monks? Because when he went and lived on that, I don't know what it was,
in New
for
Mexico.
30 days. Yeah, for 30 days where it
wasn't 30 days, it was a week.
Oh, I thought he was there for 30 days. What book am I reading? But but where it's like, some dude just keeps rolling up in his truck. He's like, yeah, whatever. It's like, wait, what kind of monks are these? They're driving around in beat up trucks. But just listen to the way it's like, I think I sometimes feel a sense of despairing in this too, because it's like, yeah, that's cool, but we don't live in that society. How do you do that when we don't live in that society?
So that to me, like, it took me probably until he started talking about his time with the Benedictine monks.
Yeah.
To realize, like, oh, I think this is a book about happiness. Like if you had asked me at the start, I wouldn't have said that, and I wouldn't even have said it probably until I hit that chapter.
Yeah.
And then the more I read
That's
it, I
his take
thought,
home.
yeah, like I'm like, oh, he's been talking about happiness, the scarcity mindset, that loop he talks about, the opportunity, the unpredictable, and the quick repeatability. I think, yeah, those are all like, it's always us seeking happiness, right? We're seeking that hit that we can't seem to get. And the very last chapter to me, or the very last paragraph, he says, so perhaps happiness is the dramatic effort of a long and hard walk with seemingly no destination. The terrain is rough and the weather isn't always perfect. It's a stroll into an abyss. But at some point along the way, by trying to make each step a bit less about our immediate desires, we realize we're happy, even though the journey hasn't ended. And that was when I hit that, I was like, oh yeah, that's it. Like it's, to me, it's kind of how the comfort crisis. In fact, he even, as he's talking with the bishop on his last day there, the bishop, the kind of head monk, I guess, and he go on a hike, and he talks about how he found happiness in seeking to do these hard things to challenge himself. And the bishop pointed out, he goes, yeah, and he's like, but even that you could take too far. And it can't just be about the challenge. Like sometimes there has to be the easy. Sometimes they're like, he said it in the food chapter after he tried, and maybe this is where you're getting the 30 days, when he tried to eat like the Chimani tribe from the Amazon for 30 days. And he goes, no, I'll still sometimes just go have, a burger, fries, and a tower of soda. And he goes, but it's just not all the time. And I always go back to, when I think about happiness more and more, I go back to when we interviewed your friend Matt, the LCDC. And he said that for him, a good day was feeling a full range of emotions. It wasn't defined by, I was happy all day. It was, no, I experienced this emotion and I laughed and I cried and I felt pain and I felt hurt and I felt joy and I felt surprise, and all of these things that half of them were things that we would not associate readily with happiness. And certainly, we wouldn't go actively seeking them out. I wonder if I can get depressed today. Like no one wakes up and says that. But hearing him say, like, no, that to me was what I started to define a good day as. And I thought, like, that goes back to that last paragraph of like, maybe it is these things that, sometimes they're painful. Sometimes it's scary because we're walking into an abyss. We don't know what's in there, but we're going in and we're doing it just to do it. We're not doing it to try to achieve this outcome. We're doing it just because it's there for us to do. And to me, that really resonated, because even as I've been struggling with like my own issues with depression for the past couple of weeks, a little more than I typically do, like I look back and I think, I'm still pretty happy. Like I've had a lot of stress, I've had a lot of these other things, but I've managed to, for the most part, stay pretty present and just kind of keep saying, okay, well, what's the next thing? Like I can't, and I haven't been chasing things that I have no control over. And so it's been pretty easy for me to just kind of, I shouldn't say easy. It hasn't been easy. It's been hard at times, but looking back, I think, no, I feel happy. Even though
I feel happy. Sorry.
Right. See. So I don't know, that to me, I think there's a lot to be said about that idea of mindfulness and being present. and its general impact on happiness, as opposed to chasing the next thing, the next dopamine hit.
Which was funny when he talks about dopamine and how, when people talk about doing a dopamine fast, he's like, if you actually did one, you would die.
Yeah.
Because it regulates so many different things. It's not just the happiness thing. It does all these
Right,
things.
Yeah.
It is interesting though, like, because I happiness is a funny way to say it. Maybe contentedness is better in my brain. I don't know. But I think we've talked about this previously. Sometimes I think we spend too much time thinking about how we're feeling each given moment. We have this weird luxury that we are able to ponder, like, what am I feeling right now? And then at the same time as having that time and opportunity to think about what we're feeling at all hours of the day, we also have this barrage of information that we should be happy at this level that people are often faking. Instead of saying, because if you're really going to be present in a moment, you're not going to be thinking as much like, well, how am I feeling right now? How am I feeling right now? It's like, are you really present in that moment then? You're just in the moment you're in. And you felt a bunch of things. And that's, it was Chance, right? That's who we were talking about.
Yeah.
That it's like, yeah, he's saying, I felt the whole thing, but I didn't necessarily sit there and think each moment, okay, what am I feeling now? What am I feeling now? I was in the moment I was in.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes looking too much, and that's what's interesting about maybe, what the bishop is saying to him. It's like, yeah, it's not just, sometimes it can't just be all hard because that's just another form of chasing something.
Yeah.
I'm chasing happiness through difficulty.
Yeah.
Well, you can't chase it. You just have to kind of go live the life you're living and be in the moment you're in, which I really want to get better at, because I've caught myself many times thinking, what am I feeling right now? And telling myself, it doesn't matter. You're going to feel something else in 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And especially once I get that soda in me, I'll be fine. It does make me wonder though, like because I feel this little bit of sense of despair in like, what is our society and how do you combat something that is so massive? Like when I read about the amount of money we have in the US, or even hearing things, I remember hearing somebody say that they're thankful for the abundance of the country we live in, that these people can buy coats for their kids. And I was like, there are a ton of people out there who cannot buy coats for their kids, in this country. Mm-hmm. But how do we like I've thought, how do I teach my kids to not value happiness over all things? And I guess I'm phrasing it that way on purpose, because if that's the value you're putting it on, then it's like, well, you're always gonna be checking, am I happy?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of saying, how do we just, and I don't think I have an answer. How do we just learn to live in the moment we're in and know that life is full of ups and downs, and that's okay. And you'll be okay in the lows, just like you'll be okay in the highs. Tell me, boys. You've been downgraded to boys. You're not men anymore.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
And maybe that's not the question I should be asking. That's just what I wonder.
Well, I think it's that, or how do we help people, like our kids, ourselves, get out of more like the survival trap, which is just like, I don't want to feel anything bad, right? And happiness is like the natural opposite of that. But with everything we're talking about, there's plenty of ways to completely numb anything bad, and it gives the illusion of maybe peace, or I don't know, lack of stress. Maybe like when you ask people about happiness, oftentimes they define it kind of like the absence of bad.
Yeah.
And I think increasing our capacity to feel anything, right? That's going to be in direct proportion to how much we can feel actual happiness, and maybe not attached to it, because you've probably had clients say, I want to be happy and things like that, and I think we all just take that as a given. Like, well, yeah, everybody does. So let's help you get more of that. But it always surprises me how small our capacity is for happiness and joy, because it's kind of like, maybe to the point, right, that it's a scarce thing. It goes away, and when it goes away, it hurts. When it goes away, I notice it, right?
Yeah, people worry about it going away when they have it.
Yeah, and I think that, I don't know how to word this other than, like, I think the only way out of that is to completely transform our view of, like, what we're doing here. like we've talked about before, right? Like, what if it's not about peace or happiness or, pain? What if it's about, like, mastery and growth? And a big part of that is, like, understanding myself on those levels and increasing my capacity to experience everything that life involves, and not shrink from that. And I think that's probably where the emotion of peace is more sustainable, because you realize, like, I can handle life, right? I can embrace the good. I can move through the bad, and it's because I've cultivated in me the capacity for all of that. There's actually, when you're talking about TikTok, there's actually this was a while back, this therapist, I think she's like the capacity expert or something. I don't remember what her title is, but a lot of her TikToks are just about that, right? Like you're asking yourself, or you're telling yourself the wrong thing about your anxiety or whatever, right? Like, this is about your capacity to like absorb and handle things. It's not, it may be, I mean, this is depending on the situation. Obviously, I don't know that she words it this way, but, like, maybe it's not that the thing is too much. Maybe it's that your capacity is too small, right? And I'm not saying that, like, in a judgmental way. It's just more like, if your capacity for that was bigger, how would you move with that? And how do we help you increase capacity? Obviously, with, like, I think capacity with purpose. Like, it's dumb just to say, like, well, I can take anything. It's like, well, what for? Like, is there a reason that you're doing that? And if it really is, like, no, this is meaningful in terms of my growth, and awesome. But if it's just like, I'm doing it to prove something to myself or others, then that's probably not a good reason, right? Then you'll, like, jump off a cliff just so people think you're cool. So, yeah.
Thanks, 1980s
they
dad.
won't think it for very long. If so-and-so jumped off a cliff, would you?
It's interesting to think, like, even as you say that, to wonder in my head, that's one of the questions I keep asking myself. Sometimes I will catch myself when I see, I guess in some ways, other things that people do in the field. For example, it's like, well, should I be doing that? Maybe I should be doing that. Maybe I'm not. And it's usually in the context, it's not necessarily like a jealousy thing. It's more like am I not living to my potential kind of thing? And so pausing to ask, like, well, is that actually something I would want to do? Like, am I jumping off this cliff so that everyone will see that I jumped off a cliff, and look at what Rob did? Or is it like trying to ask, like, well, is that where I want my mastery and my growth to be? Or do I want it to be somewhere else? That's kind of what happened with the group practice I did is I really did, and I actually don't regret doing it. But then deciding to close it down was like, I don't think, at least now at this point, it's not where I want my direction to go.
Yeah.
I want it to go in some other direction, and this might be distracting me from it. And so having to let go of the benefits of that in order to push in this other direction where I don't necessarily see benefits yet, but I recognize the space for mastery and growth that I want, that I've actually wanted for a really long time. But I think I still get caught in this, like, happiness should come to us. Like, especially with AI, it should be right there, like, I mean, everything is so, it's like, what's his name? It wasn't, I don't think it was Bill Burr. I think it was, what's his name? Louis C.K. It's like, everything's amazing and nobody's happy.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? where he's like, people are complaining because the Wi-Fi didn't work on their plane. He's like, give it a second, it's going to space.
Well, it's like something they didn't even know existed until 2 seconds ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like before you had no idea, and now you're so angry it's ruined your whole day.
I think I told you this, the very first like mindfulness thing I went to ever with this monk in Lubbock.
Yeah.
He sits down with a mic and literally just recites that whole bit like, isn't this hilarious? It's like, this is super weird.
But in a quiet monk voice.
Yeah, it was like a totally like monked version of
ASMR.
that bit. Yeah.
But that's even like Michael Easter talks about that in the book, where they studies that found if you had to pass through first class on your way to
then you're more
your regular seating, you're more likely to get upset and have like some kind of in-flight tantrum.
Yeah.
Like four times as much, and like it like more than like it doubled to 8 times as much if some other factor was present.
I don't think I've ever felt mad at them. I do walk by and think, oh, aren't you guys bougie? Sitting in your spacious seats when you're like 5'3".
Well, I was going to say, I always think I want that much leg room.
I know.
Yeah.
But when I see shorter people sitting in the exit rows, I'm like, get out of there.
Yeah. Well, that's like, even as I read it in the book, I thought, why is that something we get upset about? It's not like we were denied the chance to get first class tickets.
I could spend the money if
I
I wanted
didn't want to spend that money.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't want to spend the extra $300 to have 6 extra inches of leg room for a 2-hour flight.
For 3 hours, right.
Like, I don't care.
Yeah. My favorite example of that dynamic is the study they did with chimps. I think it's just hilarious because imagining chimps doing this makes it 10 times funnier. But like, they like, apparently chimps like cucumbers, but they love grapes. And so they like paid them in cucumber slices for some task they were doing. And then they just randomly started paying a few of them in grapes. And when they realized that guy's getting grapes, they're like, screw this. They just like stopped working.
They stopped working. I'm not doing it. That guy's getting grapes. It's so funny. I love the idea that it's like some chimp sitting down angry, like, no, I don't want cucumbers. I want grapes. You gave Jerry grapes.
So get yourself a monkey.
I don't know. I guess it's kind of funny. I don't know if I have this book. I think like what you said, Mike. I think Spacemen should read it. It's a helpful. I think it's helpful without being too overly self-helpy.
Mm-hmm.
I like the way it made me feel like, okay, I need to look at the way I'm living in general and start to figure out for myself, like, hey, have I put my priorities in the wrong direction? Am I being too passive? That was my biggest thing, is like, I think I'm being way too passive about this. And I'm still shaking off the habit of pulling my phone out to play a game. I'll pull it out and like, I've been reading way too much news, which is also not good.
Yeah, that's where I tend to go too. That's been terrible.
But I do like that idea, Matt, that what you're talking about, this idea of like mastery and growth, which we've talked about many times. Mm-hmm. I think it takes an enormous amount of discipline to, in some ways, move counterculturally, because the culture is not based on mastery and growth. Even those influencers who say they are, they're not really. It's like, it's always a life hack.
Yeah, their goal is the same. They want you watching their screen.
Yeah. And the idea of a life hack in and of itself is like, a life hack to what? So that you get to lay around more? Yeah. Like, what are we doing this for? So it is kind of just thinking, what kind of experiences do I want to have in my life? That's the question I want to ask myself. Like, what kind of experiences do I want to have? And how do I create those experiences? And I don't think they're all going to be good, because if I did, I wouldn't have had kids. Like,
but when you're young, you think kids are going to be good.
I mean, they are good, but man, the crap you go through with kids.
So that's like tying back into this idea of like mastery and growth, there was a section where he talked about how there are, like, we have gotten to be such a culture of experts that
Yeah,
like
power crack me up because the social media is full of like quote unquote experts.
well,
It's
right,
disgusting.
but even thinking about it just in practical terms, I think no, it is kind of true. Like, you know, this is a dumb expert, but it's someone who they're like, I get paid to watch Netflix.
Yeah.
And like this person, I'm like, yeah, at this point, they are an expert on what's on Netflix. And I think we have a freaking Netflix expert, like we needed one.
Yeah.
But it does, right? They become that person. It's like, well, clearly I should listen to this person. They're an expert. And he kind of talked about like that part of us that used to have to go out and discover on our own,
right? The experience for yourself
is getting replaced. And so that for me was kind of like, as I looked at it and I thought about things, and this kind of ties into what you were saying.
Somebody.
Well, it was you. I just can't remember now what you were saying, but I just remember my thought was.
Just say your thought.
Which was this, it was like somewhere someone had heard like they had boiled down intelligence to like 2 or 3 kinds of people. And they were like, you know, what do you think of that? And my thought was, I was like, I don't like anything that boils intelligence down to how you talk about things. Like, that's ridiculous. Like, why am I classifying that as like, I'm not doing that. And they were like, I'm just kind of curious. And my thought was, yeah, I guess I could read about it, or I could start trying to understand intelligence better. Like, I could just search for experts to tell me how accurate that whatever the thing is, or I could go and start researching intelligence. Like, it's actually something I've had to kind of fight against doing with the two of you. Well, I've said many times, like, I view the two of you as experts, even ironically, as you both have pointed out, when it comes to childhood and adolescence. Like, no of the three of us, I would probably be the expert there. But even there, I had to add the probably, right? Because I lacked the confidence to outright say it. But there have been times where I've had to be like, no, I could just ask Matt and Rob and they'll have an easy answer for me. Or I could just do some research on my own and go learn something today. And so there have been times where I'm like, yeah, I guess I'll just research it on my own instead of asking Matt and Rob. But there's a lot of benefits to that idea of saying, no, I'm going to go figure this out. I'm going to go grow. I'm going to try to get some mastery in something. I'm going to figure this out, and I'm just going to go do it. I'm going to put in the legwork.
Well, it's interesting because I thought about this too during the book. I don't remember if there was a specific part of the book where he's getting at this idea, but I've read these things and people have told me like, hey, look, once you make enough money, then you have to kind of weigh out, well, like, should I fix this water heater myself? Or if my time is worth this much per hour, I should pay somebody else to do this. And I could be off. And I remember when I very first started, I was like, oh, okay, I get that. And plus you're helping the economy, a small business, and there are things that's like, hey, that is beyond me and I don't know what I'm doing and I don't want to screw that up. But there are lots of things where it feels like there is value in me going to learn to do this for myself. Even if I could afford to have somebody else do it, it's like, I want to know how to do it. I want to feel like if something breaks in my house, I can do it. I can figure it out. It's fine. And I think that's too valuable for me experience-wise, kind of like what you're saying, Mike. It's like, well, don't ask the expert, because there's been tons of times when we've had quote unquote experts at my house and I'm like, what? Like, one guy's explanation of what our air conditioning was doing is like, that makes zero sense with how air conditioners work. Why am I asking you this question?
Well, even Matt's experience of the past couple of weeks with guys coming into his office.
What was it? Tiny Tap Tim or whatever you're calling?
Yeah. Tappy Tim.
Tiny Tappy Tim or something like that.
Oh man.
Well, I guess is there a
I don't know, Matt. Did you have any
any more
last
take home
thoughts?
messages?
Don't be scarce. Come back, spaceman.
That was good. See, it was just enough.
Yeah.
You don't have to have more. Okay, so now before we sign off, what's our next book, Matt? Oh, just pulling one from the shelf
Sorry.
randomly.
No, not randomly, but
Essentialism.
by Greg McKeown.
Greg McKeown. All right.
Why do I know that name?
Essentialism. All right. Well, that'll be in roughly a month-ish.
Yeah. I think
Okay.
I might build off of this book a bit.
Yeah, we got a theme going.
It's got a 21-day challenge too.
Oh,
I never
we
did
should
it.
give
but
ourselves time for the challenge then. We'll have to do a follow-up. We'll do a book review and then a follow-up.
Yeah.
And we can have Spacemen freaking respond to stuff. All right. So go get the book, Essentialism by Greg McKeown. Not spelled like you think it is, but I'm sure you can figure it out once you get
And
there.
don't just wait for us to read it. Go read the book.
And then come back next time and catch us on the Manspace. You heard the man. Go read the book.